Apparently, there's a guitar in this box. It's the Hyper B Special 5th generation from Pearson, and in this video, I'm going to play it, I'm going to review it, and let you know whether it's worth buying or not. But first, it looks like I'm going to have to build it. It is absolutely wild, and you're probably wondering, where does the tone come from? And if this doesn't put tonewood arguments to bed, then I'm not really sure what will. Obviously, it's made out of metal. This is aluminum, and I'm a little bit lost for words. As I'm sure you are if you are a traditionalist. If you are open to the idea of having something a little bit different, then this might actually interest you as an instrument. But it is somewhat confusing. So let's pop it down there and crack this neck open. A spoke wheel truss rod adjuster. First impressions are, that smells divine. That smells like a museum of chocolate. Right, so there it is, and you might notice that we've got no headstock on here, and it does look a bit weird, but let's see if the whole thing makes sense when I put it together. Ah, okay, we've got some strings. They look like D'Addario strings to me, which is a good sign. And then on the other side, we've got all the screws and things. So building it is just a case of putting those 4 screws in, and that should be fairly simple. And they've even supplied the tool to do it with. It's exciting. I like new stuff like this. It isn't that new, but not every guitar is also a bit of a Lego set. In an email to me, Pearson did say that 3 of these holes are oversized, allowing you to change the angle of the neck a little bit if it doesn't line up properly. That is something new, I think, for Generation 5. And there are reviews of previous generations of this guitar on YouTube that I think sort of address that problem. Pearson have now fixed that problem. Let's see if they fixed it properly. They don't feel like D'Addarios. That's not a good sign. I genuinely don't think those are D'Addarios. I think these are D'Addario knockoffs. Right, I'm going to put them on anyway. To fit the strings, you've got to go through this direction, over the nuts, over the entire body, and then you end up tuning it down there. Yeah, these are definitely not D'Addarios. To be fair, they don't claim to be. I think I can take this off now. Oh, I like the look of that bridge. That is a, what is it, Wilkinson? So it just says Wilkinson series. Right, the strings are tight, and I'm going to start tuning, but first I need to align that neck, which I can actually see is moving quite freely. And now that looks better to me. I can now tighten these up a bit more. Tuning time. Nope, that way. Tuned. Well, the first round of tuning. Pretty close. Oh my goodness. This is going to upset some tonewood people. Right, as a guitar now, before I really tune it, feels great on the neck. That's a lovely neck. Even though it is a modern C, I dig that. That's a nice feeling, smooth, satin, great smelling neck. Oh, it's got a handle. Brilliant. I'm so easily pleased when it comes to things like that. Let's do a little bit more setup. So cut some things off, round some things out. Actually, I think there's going to be some settle-in time on this. So I'm going to go grab a cup of tea and I'll be back. But for you, it'll be instantaneous.
15 minutes later.
You know I said these weren't D'Addario strings? Yeah, okay. Should have done this in the first place. I'm going to put some decent strings on this. Ow, that actually hurt. As luck should have it, I just received this in the post as I was drinking my tea. These are some dragon skin strings that DR sent out for me to check out. And it must be a sign from the universe that these strings belong on this guitar. I'm also going to have to set the bridge a little bit differently because these are 9/46s, so I want to make sure it's properly intonated, give the guitar a chance. And with all that done, I can now finally play it. And because it's made of metal, let's do something a bit higher gain first and hear how it handles it. Wow, that is a performing guitar. And despite all the trouble it took me to get here, it was absolutely 100% worth it. That is fun. Let's take down the gain a little bit and do something a bit cleaner. It's really fun to play. It's challenging my pick positioning because it's actually quite thick. Like, you'd think it was thin because it's made of a skeleton aluminium frame, but in terms of body depth, from where that ends and that begins, it's definitely thicker than your average electric guitar. So I'm reaching around a bit differently. The pickups are more PAF-style, lower output vintage pickups than they are sort of high-gain monsters. And I like that choice. And we've also got coil-splitting available just here on the switches. So up is humbucker and down is single coil or split coil. And I'm going to change over to the Fender for some real cleans. That's a really good split coil tone. However, can you hear this sort of sympathetic vibration? It's there. It's adding some metallic sound. I can feel it vibrating just here. I mean, if you're into behind the bridge noises, that's going to be fun for you. But if you don't want them, that needs to be avoided. It needs like one of those things you normally put, like, what's it called, a fret wrap. I don't have one to hand, but it needs a bridge wrap. What about that neck pickup on the clean? Now, if I played this blind, or if you heard it without seeing what it looks like, I don't think anyone would guess that the body was made of aluminium. Maybe that gives it away a little bit, but if that was muted, what does this mean about tone wood? Does it funk? Now, while it doesn't have that punch that some other guitars have in that middle position, considering that's a split coil, that's pretty darn good. What else can it do? That was that split coil. What if I humbucker it? That's in the middle. There, you can hear that ring at the end. What about bridge? Pretty good, right? And it's slinky to feel. There's more bend, there's more floppiness to it, and I'm guessing that even though it's a Strat scale, which is 25.5 inches, because we haven't got the extra length here going to the tuners, we have, well, more floppiness. Let's do some blues bends. I'm going back to the Marshall. Really easy to get that nice vibrato. In fact, let's put a bit of Boss SD1 on that. The volume could do with a treble bleed on it, because as soon as I back that off a bit, we start losing highs almost instantly. That's with tone full on. You actually lose more highs by backing off the volume a little bit than you do with the tone, or it's more responsive in that way. That's odd. A treble bleed would definitely help there. I'm shocked at how good this sounds. I need to riff it. I have a lot of thoughts about this guitar. A lot of thoughts. Firstly, I don't think it's trying to replicate a wooden guitar. It's not saying I can do wood but better, or I can do wood but not quite as well. It's saying something different. And I would love to have an aluminium neck on this. And I think there are several reasons for it having a wooden neck. Number one, to not scare off the traditionalists too far, but also a wooden neck is going to be cheaper than an aluminium neck. And that brings me on to the price of this. It's $795 American dollars, even though it's from New Zealand. And I'm not saying this is the future of guitar, but goodness, is it fun to have something that isn't another great Strat copy, because guitars are so good now that it's hard to differentiate between the different brands and the different models. Then something like this comes along, and oh boy, it suddenly challenges me. Now this is generation 5, and I think, honestly, we would need another generation 6, before I could truly recommend this. This is not a guitar for someone who wants a guitar. This is for someone who has guitars and wants something different. Do not buy this as your first guitar. Or if you do, enjoy the mania that comes with it. The whole putting it together malarkey does save on shipping, because a box that big is considerably cheaper to ship from New Zealand to anywhere in the world than it is when the box is that big. And I'm not sure about this, but I think you can probably get them shipped built already. But if you like a challenge, if you like a bit of Meccano and Lego, then get it like I got it, because that was genuinely fun, but on the verge of frustrating. But I got there, and I feel an amazing sense of achievement, and now I am connected with the instrument. Setting it up was pretty much the same as setting up a regular 6-string guitar, all made of wood. It's just that the tuners are that side, and it adds a level of complication that also translates to enjoyment. And I did take this out of the studio and played it on my sofa up in the living room for a while, just to see how it would feel as a couch guitar. It feels great, but when you're on the couch, if you've got a soft and comfortable couch like I do, show off, the tuners sort of dig into the cushions. And especially if you put that on a cushion, it does not sit well with those tuners just there. Can you see? So you can see it on my leg. I think this would have been far better if the tuners were those ones you find on guitars like the Ibanez Q series, those completely round ones. Because with the standard button knobs on the tuners, they are prone to movement, even when I am playing it. I mean, that guard is there, and it is extremely comfortable. There's nothing there that hurts, and that beveled edge is surprisingly comfortable considering it's metal. However, I do tend to feel that there sometimes, because I do wave my arm around a little bit. And I'm taking great care in this review to cover as much as I can, because it isn't a regular guitar. And I do love it. I love the future of this. I love what it could be. I love Generation 5, but the 6th generation, or possibly future, could be even better, to iron out a few kinks. In fact, I haven't put it on a strap yet. Let me do that. Here we go. Unsurprisingly, no neck dive. Can I play it stood up? Yes, I can. It feels extremely comfy, and this is one of those YouTube guitars, isn't it, where the company sends it out to a lot of YouTubers, and I've seen reviews knocking around. Haven't watched them because I don't, and I get the feeling this might have a bad reputation attached to it. It doesn't deserve it. This is a fantastic instrument once you put the work in. And oh, maybe I should have put that through there. Hang on. There, that's better. That is now surprisingly more ergonomical. I love it. I absolutely adore it. How that feels. Anyway, because it's made of metal, you're probably wondering how heavy is it? And the answer is not very. Putting it on the scales gives us 2.75 kilograms or 6 pounds on the dot. If I compare that to, say, my Ibanez AZ, that's going to give us, I think, more. 7 pounds 10 or 3.5 almost kilos. And size-wise, to compare with this guitar again, it is smaller, but because it's headless, it is roughly the same size as a regular headless, if there is such thing as a regular headless. But let's have a look at the electronics. Everything in here is so clean, so well done, and I'm so happy with it. The pots are very smooth, but there's enough resistance there as well to not accidentally slip too far. They feel high quality. This switch is a definite switch. You know where it is, there's a good click, and it doesn't seem to bend too much that way either. And the coil split switches are sturdy AF. Let's have a look at that output jack. Oh, I've missed one. Hang on. Right, that lifts out of there. There's not much cable to work with. You might be able to see that it says A500K on the tone pot and the same on the volume pot. Can I flip it around? Yes, like that. There we go. So there's the switch. It is still a fairly affordable switch. It just feels good. And there is the capacitor. Wiring is good to great. And I guess it has to be because you can see everything through the clear plate. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is this too weird for you, or is it exactly what you've been looking for your stage show? because I think this would look amazing on stage, and I would love to turn up to a blues jam with this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more information about this, there is a link in the video description right next to that subscribe button. Wink, wink, nod, nod, and I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye!